welcome to your weekly program, Bil-Ahdan, the show that brings the soft side of the Middle East to your living room. With all this conflict and violence taking place in the Middle East, we would like to bring some of the people here in Minnesota that try to do something about it. What is the role of the Arab American, Muslim American, and the Jewish American here to play in the future of that pattern region? We're going to talk to Fouzi Slisli from ADC and Barbara Nordstrom from Minnesota Jew for Just Peace. They come in here today to give us their views. I met them at the state capitol last week, where there were a silent demonstration for support for peace for the Palestinian people. Do Yasser Arafat and Sharon outlived their usefulness? Do we need new direction and new leaders? So stick around. We'll talk to Fouzi and Barbara. Don't go away. There is a piece here, give you a flavor of what happened at the state capitol last week. We met some of the people who came there to lend the Palestinian people a hand. And here is the piece. Assalamu alaikum. Started by a few prayers, then they came from all directions. They came from all races, religions, and beliefs. They came to support the Palestinian people, the forgotten, faceless people. Here are some of the faces that they came to lend them a hand.
I'm here to basically let the people know about the plight of Palestinians. It's a very terrible situation in Palestine right now, and the tragedy is that most of the Americans do not know the reality of what's happening to the Palestinian men, women, and children. They are being shot, the unarmed civilians, being shot at by the Apache helicopters, by F-16s, by tanks, and by machine guns and snipers. And even the injured are unable to go to the hospital because the Israelis have arrested the doctors and have shot at the ambulances.
We live with and deal with every day do not know the whole truth about what's going on in our countries that we migrated from. So we thought to have a public speech and campaign of awareness for our neighbors and co-workers and neighbors and everybody that lives with us, to know what's going on, what's happening to our people back home. Inshallah, they will understand that there is justice that has been done to those people. Most of them are peaceful. Most of them are unarmed and they are getting killed. Some of the injured people cannot be attended to, and this is inhuman. So we thought we will bring this out in the open and have more people know about it, and hopefully they will talk to their senators and their congressmen, and they will be able to do something about it by the will of God.
I'm here to support the Palestinian people, their cause, and what's happening out there in their country, and the occupation that the Israelis are doing, and the way how I feel that sorry I am as a Muslim brother and came here to support.
And I'm here to support Palestinians, the Palestinians.
I'm here to support Palestine and help my Muslim brothers.
I'm here to support all the people in Palestine and my Muslim brothers.
I'm here to support our families, our friends, Palestinians, that they are suffering from the Nazi government of the State of Israel. And there is one small poem I want everybody to know. إذا كان حبنا لفلسطين جريمة فليشهد العالم بأننا مجرمون، وإذا كان حبنا للقدس إرهابا فليشهد العالم بأننا إرهابيون.
With this fiery Arabic word, I would like to leave you with some hope. It is the only hope that will give this battered region a chance for peace, for future, the face of our children. Would anyone hate this face. Back بالأحضان, we have guest today, Barbara Nostrop, and from Minnesota Jew for Just Peace. She was demonstrating at the state capitol last week. We also have Fouzi Slisli, he was ADC, and he also was at that demonstration at the state capitol. Welcome, Barbara, welcome, Fouzi. It was great to have you here, and I think we're going through a tremendous time, and you know, things in the Middle East is taking a turn to the worst as we speak. And with American envoy there, Colonel Powell. But let's just pull ourselves out of there. Yeah, but this is 10,000 miles away, and talk about the response of the Arab, Muslim, American, and the Jew, American Jew here living in Minnesota. And I want to start with you, Barbara, and tell you, I want to see, as a Jew living here in Minnesota, going to the state capitol with the silent, we'll call them the silent majority. These people who don't hear them in the media very well. And, to support peace and justice and for the Palestinian people or for the area at whole. Tell me, why did you feel compelled to go out there and demonstrate and support Palestinian causes over there?
Wow, that's a big question.
Yeah. On a personal level.
Yeah. Let me say just something briefly about what I see in the Jewish community, which is just that I think there's a lot of different views and opinions in the Jewish community, just as I think there are in the Arab or the Muslim community. And there are a lot of Jews who really are very, very uncomfortable or really don't like what the Israeli government is doing, what Sharon is doing. That's a hard thing for a Jew to do, to speak up and say, yeah, I'm for Israel. I'm not talking about the elimination of Israel, but also it's not okay for Israel to act in a way that disenfranchises any other people. And that's hard, and I think sometimes as a person, it's like someone has to stand up. And some few people have to be the first ones to stand up. I mean, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking...
You've got to start with somebody.
Yeah. There's actually, Pesach Seder is just over, but with Seder for us, there's a story around one of the parts of the story of the Exodus, which is that when the Jews got to the Red Sea, and we won't go into the politics of that story, which we could do that another show. Yeah. But when the Jews, so our story is that when the Jews got to the Red Sea, the waters didn't just part. That it took some people, they had to actually trust. They had to trust and have faith that...
Transformation first.
Yeah, and they had to step into the water. And that when God saw them step into the water, just taking the risk to step in, then the waters parted. And that's a part of the story that is very, very meaningful to me. And so I'm certainly not the first person. There are people who in the Jewish community who've been kind of standing up for a long time. But I felt that was important to do. It was important also to be there as an ally, to not sort of buy into, they're the Jews, they all think the same, they're the Palestinians and the Arabs, they all think the same, and they all hate each other.
Well, let's check with Fouzi. Are the diversity views of the Arab community well presented? It seems like in the media they always go with the people who are, screaming and, have a very extreme preference over the whole thing. So what is the mood in the Arab community now? There are a lot of people over there that are not Arab, but during that demonstration.
The mood is extremely somber, Ahmed. I would like to start by expressing the community's condolences for the Palestinian community in the West Bank and Gaza. And I would like to, on behalf of the American and Muslim community of Minnesota, to salute the legendary resilience and resistance of the Palestinians in the force of nothing less but genocidal firepower by nothing less but a certified war criminal, Mr. Ariel Sharon.
But in the same token, Fouzi, and I know this is a very emotional issue, we all know the reality there. We all know the occupation and the heavy-handed policy of Sharon's army, what have you. But in the same token, the acceleration of the suicidal bomber and killing innocent civilians, it's really shedding a kind of blur and dark side of the story of the Palestinians. So is there anybody in the Arab community now willing to stand out and say this is really a tragedy and violation of all laws, human law, Islamic law, that killing innocent civilians are just plain wrong?
I think there has been a large number of people from the Arab and Muslim community saying it. The deaths of innocent civilian life is terrible. That's not something anybody could condone. But the matter of fact is that it doesn't come in a vacuum. People in Palestine don't just get up one morning and say, oh, all right, I'll go and kill some Israelis in Jerusalem this morning.
Yeah.
We're talking about people who have been living with the corpses of their nephews and aunts for 3-4 days because the Israeli army wouldn't let them go out and bury them.
Well, let's go to Barbara. Killing innocent civilians, when we think of it we think about the suicide bomber, the human bomb. Young Palestinians just go to blow themselves off up in downtown Jerusalem or Cafe. But also in the other talk, there is a lot of Palestinian civilians that are killed every day.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any difference how the civilian been killed to be called a terrorist act.
For me, no. I think for me there's several different levels, because there is this level of any killing is tragic and shouldn't happen. Of someone who's innocent, no matter what their age, it's horrible. It shouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that we're true of individuals on both sides. And I would also say, yes, absolutely, that the numbers don't even begin to add up, that the numbers of what's happening to the Palestinian people are just huger. And I'm not saying, okay, then it's more okay to kill these people or not those people. I think that for me, there's the heart level of, look, people are dying for no reason, and that's tragic. And also, it's not an equal playing field. That, there's one side that's got the guns and they've got the legitimacy, and that there are certainly a number of people in the Jewish community, including me. My own personal definition of terrorism, Star Tribune aside, is that I think terrorism is what we, whoever we is, say when some of us are being killed and we don't like who's doing it. And so just because the Israeli government has a government and so is able to get weapons and can basically murder Palestinians, that's just a different level of killing. And it doesn't, and it's bigger. It's absolutely bigger, but I've heard people talk and making distinctions between Israeli deaths and Palestinian deaths. And on one level, I understand it, because the Palestinian and Arabic community have every right to be outraged. It should be. But on another level, it's children dying. And so it's like part of me comes in and says, yes, and as a woman, as speaking for women, to say, can we have space also to say children, old people, respected elders, innocent people are dying on both sides. Who cares who has more right to who has the right? Can we just figure out a way to stop it? It's like
let's see if this conflict has been going on for so many years. Hundreds, some people say thousands. And as Arab American, the Jewish Americans, maybe we are in a position we can look at it more we have a different model of
distance,
working
sure.
together, and we look at not just so much the land right, but the human rights.
Absolutely.
So where do we go from here?
I think it's a very difficult situation, Ahmed. It's unfortunate, but I cannot show any fuzzy optimism about the situation. And I am not speaking for myself or speaking as an Arab. I'm speaking as a human being, and I am in agreement with a large number of Jewish people on this fact that as long as the state of Israel is based on laws, for example, that give citizenship to a certain number of people, but nationality to just Jews, which means that you have access to buying land only if you are a Jew, which means that you have access to specific types of education only if you are a Jew. As long as we're talking about supremacist ideologies of this kind, as long as we're talking about blunt racism and apartheid, there will never be peace. I think even in talking about the solution of two states, we probably could get a lull in violence of about 5, even 10 years, and we will have a huge military monstrosity on one end, and we'll have a Palestinian stable on the other end.
Well, on that hopeful note, let's take a short break, and we'll come back and see what is the future of this area and how we can help. Take a break. We'll come back with Barbara and Fouzi. Don't go away. Assalamu alaikum.
الله على الدنيا خانت ليالينا، مرات ضحكنا ومرات بكينا. الله على الدنيا خانت ليالينا، مرات ضحكنا مرات بكينا، مرات ضحكنا مرات بكينا. الله على الدنيا خانت ليالينا، مرات ضحكنا مرات بكينا. كم مرة ما تصفى تبخل وما تدي، تحرجنا باللهفة نصبر وبنداري في قلوبنا الشكوى، ونقول يا دنيا يا دنيا عالبعد ما نجوى. مرات ضحكنا مرات بكينا. الله على الدنيا كانت ليالينا، مرات ضحكنا مرات بكينا. الشكوى ما تنفع، الله يصبرنا وشوفة الأحباب تجبر خواطرنا. متى القلوب تهيب بعد الشفا ترتاح، يا دنيا ملينا يا دنيا جراح فوق جراح. مرات ضحكنا مرات بكينا. الله على الدنيا كانت ليالينا، مرات ضحكنا مرات بكينا. مرات راح اقول رأيي ولا خبيش، انت بصراحة ما تنفعنيش. راح اقول رأيي ولا خبيش، انت بصراحة ما تنفعنيش.
Okay, can you smile again? Barbara here and Fouzi, we're talking about the future of the Israelis and the Palestinian conflict here as Arab American and Jewish American here in Minnesota. Where do we go from here? Barbara and Fouzi, we really need to break away from the past and see what we can do to build future for this battered area. So as an organization here, Minnesota Jew for Just Peace, there must have a mission, a vision. What can you do in concert with Arab American Anti-Defamation, ADC?
Yeah.
What kind of activities, what kind of things we can do, you can go together to really give some hope to some political resolution in this area?
Yeah. Well, for us, I think there's a couple of things, and some of them isn't necessarily working with ADC, because one of the things we want to do is we're trying to see if there are ways we can work within the Jewish community. I know that, and I have talked with a lot of Jews who are, particularly since things have gotten so much worse, really, there's a lot of Jews who are really unhappy with what Sharon's government is doing, what the Israeli government is doing. There's a lot they have to learn, but they're very unhappy, and so we're...
But those are the silent majority, because it seems like really the Jewish community support and lobbying is really given green lights.
Right.
What is going on over there?
That gets into the internal stuff of the Jewish community that, this is a slight sidetrack, but I think that particularly here, where there's been a very recent history of anti-Semitism, I think for a lot of people in the Jewish community to step aside and speak out is very scary, because the Jewish community is used to being oppressed by the dominant culture, which they weren't part of. It's very hard, it's very scary. There are people who are doing it, and we make a point of making sure to really support that, because it takes a lot of courage. More people are stepping out, which is something that's good and hopeful. The other thing for us that we're trying to do is trying to stand as allies for the Palestinians, for the Arab and Muslim community, which right now just are more oppressed, have it much harder in this community than we as Jews do. The other thing in this is just general, I constantly have to do this, I think it's really important for everybody in all the communities to really begin to see people as individuals. So not all Jews think the same. The same way that not all Arabs think the same. Yeah, that if I said all the Arabs think this, that would be absolutely wrong.
It's bad sampling.
Yeah.
Fouzi, tell us what the ADC and other Arab Muslim American organization can do, the Jewish community. We're not going to have the same tribal, conflict here in Minnesota.
Oh, absolutely not. We have very good relationship with the Minnesota Jews for Just Peace. We did a number of events together, and we have personal and professional relationships with them, and we work very well.
Is there any voice in the Arab American community to tell Yasser Arafat, exercise some leadership? I mean, we question Sharon's leadership. We stood against the fundamentalist terrorist and World Trade Center attack. Is there any voice?
I think, I'm sorry, but this is absolutely the wrong question to ask. Arafat has not been very popular. Not many people like Arafat. And Arafat right now is hiding into 1 or 2 bedrooms. It's not Arafat that's going to stop the horrendous violence that we have seen unleashed. I am sorry, this is State Department speak, and this is Israeli spin.
But he was confined like a week ago. I mean, before that, the last 50 years.
Ahmad, if any people, the Palestinians, do not wait. The Palestinians are human enough to revolt if they are oppressed. They don't wait for Arafat to give them if you were any other people who are invaded and who have foreign armies come and go on the rampage, it's just human to revolt. In terms of the future, I would say...
Half of a minute here.
Yeah.
I would say two things. Half of the Native American Indians' land has been stolen by peace. We have to be careful about the word peace. We need a just peace, not any peace. And the second thing, I think we should work for equality between Palestinians and Israelis, between Jews and Arabs, rather than just giving them a little state that would be a Bantustan.
On that note, I have to cut you over there. I appreciate you coming here, and thank you so much, Barbara, and wish you well. Wish you all working together.
Thanks very much.
And wish you all work. Let's all work for just peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.